Welcome to Level Up Chips, Reaper of Souls, Ultimate Evil Edition. Hello everyone and welcome to an episode of Level Up Chips. If you're on YouTube or something, you can probably see me. I'm your host, Mike Gonzalez, and I have with me my co-host, Max Logan, and a guest host, Tess Ware. That's right, right?
Yeah.
I probably should have actually asked that before, but here we are. How are you doing, Tess?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm just managing by. I just beat this game called Deathloop.
Okay.
I think that I talked about it before on the podcast for the PlayStation Showcase. They had a little trailer about it. I didn't know how it was gonna be, and then turns out it's one of my favorite games this year. And we'll get into that I think next week, just a little bit about all that game. But Max, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I mean, I was feeling a bit under the weather over the weekend, as Mike can attest to.
Yeah, last episode I suggested you get some burners and just burn.
Always burners. That's the
Yeah,
Michigan
exactly.
solution.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Right, and on one of my off days, I was able to beat Demon Souls in one day. So
yeah, he did it in one day. I haven't even been able to do it in like a month.
God, what's it like having a PlayStation 5?
oh, they're great. I mean, it's kind of I kind of feel bad about like bragging about it because
It's fantastic. Why don't you have
We
one?
love it. Well, I don't have one.
I'm messing with you. Honestly, it was a like lucky thing that we were able to get it. Like, I think they announced like the release day for the PS5, and immediately my family went straight to the GameStop that's in our town, got like 3 different pre-orders. I was really shocked by that, but like, I think she did one online. My mom got one for me at the store, and then we had to, what was it? We had to persuade the employees to actually get it for my brother since he was moving to Japan.
Oh, jeez.
So it was like, okay, we aren't doing it, together or anything like that. That was absolutely wild.
That is crazy.
no, PlayStation literally just sent me an email in March. They were like, "Hey, do you want to buy a PS5? Like, do it here." I'm like, "Okay, cool." That was it. My story isn't quite as dramatic.
No,
but,
I had a friend who wanted the Animal Crossing Switch really, really bad, so she placed 3 pre-orders all at once, and I thought she was
Wow.
crazy. 2 of them ended up getting canceled, and she
got the one.
she got it, so she was happy.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that I is it actually like kind of nice the like look of the Switch? Have you been able to see it?
It's cute. I mean, it's no different from a regular Switch, so I don't really see the point of the hype, but
Still, it's
It's a
Animal Crossing.
collector's item.
yeah.
Like I spent, what was it? I have this Xenoblade Chronicles 2 controller. I spent $100
Oh
on
my
that
God.
thing.
Hey, it's usually like 60 or 70 bucks. He just decided to go the extra mile for 30 bucks.
Yep.
Like that is insane, dude.
Yeah.
But anyway, why don't we get into some of the regular stuff that we do for this channel, which is like the game news this week. Um, I this is kind of odd actually having the camera because I look at it a little bit and then I'm like, oh yeah, we have a script and you're probably gonna be able to see all of it at this point. But pretty much the first thing that I wanted to get into was this leak that came out for all sorts of games. It's insane, and I'm a little bit like excited for it because they're talking about like Half-Life 2 remaster, all the like Metal Gear Solid like 2 and 3. That's gonna be remastered. They had sequels for like Tekken, Crisis, Titanfall, BioShock, even Monster Hunter. There was all sorts of stuff where I was like, hey, this is a lot, and you're spoiling like all the huge surprises that are gonna be coming around. But it's kind of hard to actually tell this is like legit or not. The only thing that I would say that makes it a little bit more legit is the fact that they also added an Alan Wake remaster, which was actually announced during the PlayStation Showcase, which makes it much, much more valid. If that's the case, what kind of games are you like excited for? Do you hear any of those that you're like, oh my gosh, wow?
Yeah. I'm a very bad gamer. I'm not good at it. So I like to say that I'm kind of a backseat gamer. My boyfriend is a gamer, so I kind of watch him play a lot. So I'm kind of excited for him to get to the new Monster Hunter because I really enjoy watching those games. But also I'm a Zelda fan, so I try not to get my hopes up when it comes to leaks because I have had them dashed many times.
Yeah, that's actually kind of the wild thing. A lot of those leaks, they were for all sorts of stuff. Nintendo didn't get a single leak, which I was very shocked by.
They have more secrets than the CIA. They are better at keeping them
I mean,
down on lock.
yeah, it makes sense that they're so protective of their brand, considering the few times they've let other people use it. It's
I'm trying to
not
remember.
gone very well.
I was gonna say, I'm trying to remember. There was something that happened recently for Nintendo where the Volt got a little bit leaked, and there was a bunch of stuff that Nintendo they just never release.
Oh yeah.
I'm fairly certain if they really wanted to, that's what it was. It was Mother, the series, the Earthbound NES and everything. The original first game that was on the NES, Mother 1, it was actually translated. And then they decided, we don't want to do that. And then around the Wii U era, when they saw that Earthbound was huge, they just decided, okay, let's just release it again.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wild times. They probably have those translations all over the place. We have no idea.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy how they keep things so quiet. And that's why I think there's such a huge, if you go on YouTube, there's so many theorists and Nintendo YouTubers who just talk about aspects of games and try to figure out what's going to come out next. And it's really interesting because they're basically just making things up, but it's always entertaining.
It's always entertaining when they get it right, even though they're just kind of throwing anything and hoping that it catches. I would love to have some of those types of things happen to me.
Yeah, I enjoyed when Age of Calamity came out because all of the theorists were sure it was going to happen. This is the one time they were positive about this is going to be the game. And then they were all just shot down, completely different from what they were expecting. And they were all so angry.
I mean, yeah, it can be pretty entertaining at points, but sometimes it borders on the
scary,
exploitative. Back, I remember a few years ago there was this whole trend of people being oh yeah, this is GTA 6, this is what it'll look like blah blah blah. Even though Rockstar hasn't even made any clue of them even being in the planning process.
It was absolutely hilarious when they decided to show a GTA 5 remaster trailer for the PlayStation Showcase, saying, it's coming out for the PS5, and everyone's like, this sucks.
Yeah! It's none of us have a PS5.
None of us have a PS5,
and also, it's a 8-year-old game.
It's been across 3 different generations now.
Jeez. The same, 5?
Yeah, the same one.
God.
It's the same exact game that you got for the 360. Nothing's changed except for maybe a few updates.
Yeah.
They just keep saying, we'll get to 6 later, but at the same time, why don't you play online? Do something like that.
Online makes them so much money, but why change it?
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of money and stuff like that, we wanted to get into some of the Deathloop stuff. I think that they've been getting a good amount of money, but the PC hardware or software that they've had has been kind of a little bit wonky. Would you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, so in general, Bethesda has sort of a problem with implementing this anti-piracy software called Denuvo into their PC ports of games. It usually ends up screwing with the performance in some way, like dropping frames, crashing, all that stuff. And from what I can remember, the last time they did this was Doom Eternal on the PC. And enough people complained about it that they just took it away. They're like, okay, fine, it's not worth it.
And apparently they have not, figured out that the anti-piracy software was a problem. They never learned their lesson.
I feel like they're just going to keep doing it until people stop complaining. They're just going to, whatever, I don't care anymore.
At the same time, of all the games for them to put it on, it's Deathloop, which Again, you never really heard about it, Tess, right?
No.
No. It's one of those games where like Dishonored, it's made by the same creators as
Mhm.
Dishonored and Prey, but it got too much marketing in a certain way with too little information.
Okay.
That was always the biggest thing where it almost like I almost didn't buy it if it wasn't for the reviews because nobody actually told me, is this a roguelike? Is this what is this? Is it Hitman? What's going on? They just kept showing trailers that just made me more confused. So for them to put the anti-piracy stuff on there immediately, I'm like, great. That's a whole other platform that's never gonna be want to play that game if they can't. It
They
doesn't
don't include
function.
that.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's really wild to think that Bethesda they can do some really great stuff. Like again, Skyrim for some reason
Mhm.
people love to go buy another version of it, but then they get those new games and they just decide
I mean, hey, that next gen upgrade of Skyrim that's free for people who already own it.
it's got
It's a good
fishing.
deal.
It's got
got
fishing
fishing in
now.
it.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's
God.
officially a good game.
Yeah. It's a classic now.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Certified
before.
classic. Yes, exactly.
Everyone knows it's all about the fishing.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And I wanted to jump into the last little bit of news, and I think Tess, you know a little bit about this. Have you heard about the update for Nintendo?
Yeah, like they're getting they're gonna start supporting Bluetooth, which honestly is really cool because I feel like I'm out in public a lot playing my Switch, and it's nice to not have that cord around.
Exactly. It was always really wild to think that they never did that.
Mhm.
They always had like those little like widgets you could like put it in. Who
What's the
wa-
point?
Yeah, what's the point? You know, you can't do it when it's portable. That was always the worst part about it
Yeah.
because you either have to get the cord or if you had like the Bluetooth, you know, speakers or headphones that have the little widget,
Mhm.
you can't do that with
Actually,
a portable
There
one.
was one that like plugged into the USB-C on the bottom, and like the audio. It was weird. Like
And those always
it was like
tick me
it was
off
like
even
Yeah.
more.
$35.
Well, and
yeah.
don't they kind of defeat the point of Bluetooth,
Yeah,
which is
exactly.
you don't have to plug anything in?
Not to mention the worst part is like on the camera and everything. I have it right here, the Nintendo Switch. The big thing is that people should know this is where the USB-C port is. So imagine if I wanted to lay it down or something and I had a little widget for something like that. That just
Yeah.
doesn't work.
Mhm.
And I've had it before where charging, I just want to lay it down and just, I don't know, play something. I can't do that.
Yep.
It's honestly the worst design choice for the system. But whatever.
Yeah, now you can just do it normally. So, I mean, I've been using it to listen to like the Smash Brothers music, because you can do it in sleep mode.
Yeah, that was always the weirdest thing because I remember hearing that, like, it'd be great if I had the Bluetooth.
Yeah. Well, didn't they
option.
always have the ability to add Bluetooth and they just didn't for some
Yeah.
reason?
Yeah,
The hardware
actually.
was always in there. They just,
Yeah.
I'm guessing some intern just never.
There was always memes
like-
coming out on Twitter being like, this person forgot it like 4 years later,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh my gosh, that's what I forgot all these years later. They're like, I don't know, waking up one morning thinking,
Huh.
that's right, that's
Oh my God.
that's the squeaky wheel. So that actually kind of gets us into a good transition towards this little bad boy right here called the Nintendo Switch. Does everybody here have a Nintendo Switch? I want to.
Do.
Okay,
Yes.
just making sure. I always want to make sure everyone has a console. Otherwise, it's going to be really awkward.
Yep. Mine
Kinda
is matcha
conversation.
green. I changed the case.
Oh, okay. Wait, like the full on like
Yeah, I changed like the
the
yeah,
plating.
Joy-Cons, everything. It's all green.
I've actually been thinking about doing that.
It's
'cause-
really fun,
yeah.
which is like weird.
The biggest thing is the Nintendo Switch. You know, I have the slime here. It's from Dragon Quest, and the biggest thing is for Japan. They had this Nintendo Switch version of the Dragon Quest stuff, and it had little like little slimes on the back. I wanted that, and even Etsy had like a little plate, and I missed my chance to get one.
That's a bummer.
That's the cool thing about the Switch, the amount of customization for it in comparison to like I'd say some of the other consoles, they haven't really been doing that much for it.
Yeah, I have Joy-Cons that like I got new case for them, and then my original ones I hated the red with the blue, So I
Yes.
actually took it apart. I spray painted it green and then put it back together. So now
You're just messing with the hardware. They are going to hate you if you ever need to send it to the like support stuff.
yeah, well, I bought mine in Thailand, so I don't even know if I can do that. I don't think I have a warranty on it.
Oh,
That's a full-on story right there. Why from Thailand?
So my boyfriend is Thai. We were there visiting family.
Oh.
And they actually, if you ever want games, Thailand. I bought a Nintendo or my DS there. I bought my Switch there. And this was like, I think it was less than a year after the Switch came out. I know that. And I got mine, like 2 games. I got like the covers, the cases, all of that. And I think I spent a little less than $400 total. And this was right when it came out. Well, a few months after it came out. So it was
Oh
a
my
lot
gosh.
cheaper.
That actually does a lot of the East Asian countries and stuff.
Mhm.
They actually do have a lot of those retro games that aren't that much.
Yeah.
I do you know the game Chrono Trigger?
I think I've heard of it.
Okay, so it's this like huge legendary like RPG made by Squaresoft, right?
Yeah, Squaresoft.
Well, it was Squaresoft. Basically, it was made by like the dream team of Square Enix people, like Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy. Everybody just came together for it.
Also, all the characters are designed by Akira Toriyama.
Who made
okay.
like Dragon Ball, all
Yeah.
that stuff. So it was huge, absolutely amazing. The biggest thing is if you try getting a like US cartridge here for, the SNES, it's like $90.
Yeah.
Over there, my brother, he sent me a cartridge. It's $3.
Well, especially in Japan, where they're
Yeah.
all over the place.
And surprisingly, people don't really hoard all the different stuff. So now all of a sudden it's, $100 cartridge.
Yeah. Shockingly, people in Japan aren't selfish and get
Yeah.
rid of stuff when they don't need them.
Exactly. So in a certain way, I was really angry to see that. He actually kept the wrap and everything when he sent it back
Yeah.
just to like anger me.
I mean, hey, I have a bunch of mint condition comic books in an inheritance from my dad, so eventually I'll get those and I'll sell them. I'll be rich.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
gonna say you're well off right now. Okay.
My dad has been collecting Magic the Gathering cards since '94.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's
He's
just,
insane.
I was gonna say I was about to go on to another thing that I have, but let's go into the Switch because
Yeah.
otherwise we're just gonna be talking about all the old games that we have and all the old vintage stuff. But I think that I wanted to talk about how many Nintendo consoles do you really have, Tess?
I have a Nintendo 2DS, and then I have my Switch, and that's actually all I have.
Okay, I was about to say we're thinking about maybe like ranking it among all the different Nintendo consoles,
Yeah.
but that
I
might
mean, I've played the Wii U, I've played the Wii, and
GameCube.
my boyfriend has GameCube. Have played that.
Good. Because that's already like one of the like number one
Yeah.
spot. But the Nintendo Switch is actually starting to dethrone the GameCube.
Mhm.
Very close because the biggest thing about this console is the fact that a lot of the titles have been resurged.
Yeah.
Like Mario Party. That
Mhm.
was actually, in my opinion, like a dead series for a bit because it was on like the 3DS, but it didn't really have like great maps or anything like that, and not good mini games.
Yeah.
And then you had the Wii stuff, which completely took out that whole competitive idea and just decided to say, all right, everybody's in one car at one time.
Mhm.
There's no map that we can explore and stuff.
Yeah.
So, do you have the Super Mario Party?
Yeah, I do actually.
What do you think about that one?
I think it's good for just like when you're trying to entertain some people. It's really fun. It's infuriating when you're winning and then you don't. Suddenly someone else wins. But yeah, I like the maps. I haven't actually played on the GameCube before, but I've heard a lot of people talk about it and the legendariness of that game.
The legend, yeah, they are absolutely legendary, and I'm really excited.
4 through 7, if I remember.
Yep, 4 through 7, and then 8 was on the Switch or on the Wii. But the thing is, I don't know if you've heard too, they're getting a new Mario Party that's gonna be like a remake
Yeah,
of
I did
all
hear
the
that.
old stuff. I'm so excited. Like absolutely like beaming with excitement because a lot of those memories are like with the 64 versions
Yep.
of, Mario Party 1 through 3, and some of those like stages, some of those maps were wild. Like, I don't know if you've seen, some of them were like space themed,
Mhm.
and the cool thing about like Mario Party 2, they had like
Costume.
costumes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So like you'd be like in a cowboy or like Western style, and everybody'd have the cowboy outfits, and they'd have a duel against Bowser. Whoever
Oh.
won the Mario Party game, they were able to do a high noon type of situation.
Quick draw.
Yeah, quick draw and everything towards him, and they'd win every time, and it was really neat.
That sounds so fun. I feel like Nintendo, one thing that they're really good at taking advantage of is nostalgia. Just because everyone who played it as children are now adults.
Just like Disney.
Yeah. Yeah. My God.
A lot of people do compare those two a lot about like Mickey Mouse and Mario.
Hmm.
And I also saw something about how WarioWare is
Yeah.
technically like, have you
I
played
played
the
it.
new one?
Yeah, I played it the other day. It's
Yeah,
chaotic.
together.
It's so confusing.
It is so fun though at
Yeah.
the same time.
No, I have like ADD brain and I'm trying to follow what's happening on the screen and it's getting like difficult, like almost painful. But it's really fun.
That I can't imagine. Sometimes I get that because I've been a fan since like the Game Boy Advance games.
Mhm.
Um, and these games are like some of my favorites.
Yeah.
And a lot of people actually compare it like Mario is Mickey Mouse, WarioWare is the Looney Tunes
Yeah.
of Nintendo, where they are just all over the place, like all the different art styles and everything. Wild.
Yeah, and the
Mhm.
weird characters and how you have to move in a different way and yeah.
Like you're getting into like the golden stuff for WarioWare because
Yeah.
seeing all the characters like that blew my mind. It made me so happy to see them again because the last game that they were like all together really was like the 3DS
Yeah.
like remix version of it. And that I can't even call that an original game. This is a
Mhm.
full brand new idea for WarioWare. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I also like that it's like group, like you can play it with other people. I know believe some of the old ones were like that too, where you could play it together. But it just makes it so much more fun because it's so chaotic. And I feel like if I were playing that alone, I would feel like I was like going mad. Insane. But
That's me.
having someone there to reassure me that this is happening and I'm not having a hallucination is very helpful.
Trust me, there was a certain point in the WarioWare games where they had like a toilet that they were like that was a treasure. I'm like, okay, I'm going insane.
Yeah.
There's something going on. But so like there's a lot of variation when it comes to the Nintendo Switch.
Hmm.
I want to talk a little about like the highlights of the Switch. Like, what are some of the games that you usually go towards, like the most played?
I'd say my most played by far is Breath of the Wild, the Zelda series, which is great because, like I said, I'm not much of a gamer, and this is one that I can kind of go off and do I hate doing like the quests. Like my goal in this game is to find all the shrines without doing any of the quests. So I just wander around. I'm rich in the game because I'm constantly finding minerals. And so I just wander around and I find shrines when I can and I try to figure it out without doing any of the quests because I'm bad at taking directions and I don't like being told what to do.
This game is really non-linear, and
Exactly.
it's in my opinion, some of the best when
Mhm.
it comes to that stuff because, like, I know it took inspiration from like Skyrim,
Yeah.
stuff like that, but the thing about Skyrim that makes it a little bit old in a certain way, antiquated, correct. Really, it's just there are so many different quests.
Mhm.
There's nothing about it where it's like, oh, I can do shrines, I can just like wander off and find this amazing thing, like
Yeah.
finding those dragons like
Yeah.
around the sky. Sometimes I had no idea that was a thing, and I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. And all the hidden things you can do and
No narrative really. It's just you looking around the world and saying, huh, that's a thing.
yeah, I think for the Zelda games it probably has the weakest story, which is a kind of
It's a double-edged sword.
yeah, like it's a good story. It's just like it's not as present as the other ones.
Save for like the NES ones where it's literally just
Yeah.
defeat Ganon, save Zelda.
Yeah, where you don't even really understand what's happening.
Right.
It's really interesting because a lot of people, again, they do compare it to like the NES stuff.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
But in a certain way, I commend Breath of the Wild because it's so much more accessible to really understand what is going on. I mean, I wish I had it. That's the biggest thing. I used to own it with my family, but once I moved out, my sister, my 9-year-old sister Grace, she took control of it. I swear to God, probably has like 500 hours into
Oh
it.
my god.
You'll see her. She doesn't fight. She uses the
I don't fight. I use bow and arrow.
yes,
I'm great
exactly.
with the bow and arrow.
She doesn't even do that. She'll get the Majora's Mask on,
Yeah, I do
like
that.
the DLC one, and it makes them enemies
really
friendly.
care.
Yeah, they don't really
Yeah,
care.
yeah, I do
She
that.
just hangs out with them and does like tea parties with the
How-
monsters.
Okay.
Don't they notice, like, eventually?
They get a little bit confused a little bit, but never unless you like attack
Yeah,
them.
obviously.
Yeah.
That's when they're like, "Oh, something's wrong."
Yeah.
There was a YouTuber who did a whole like mockumentary about like life among the bokoblins. It's absolutely incredible, and if you have the chance to watch it, I highly recommend.
Oh my gosh, I have to see that.
I mean, the moment when I saw one of the moblins pick up a bokoblin and throw it at me as a weapon, I knew that the game was special.
Yeah.
No, the game is something else. There's all sorts of glitches. I would suggest this one YouTube channel called Highlight Reel. They have all sorts of like really crazy clips that go around.
Yeah.
They do a lot of the Breath of the Wild stuff where either glitches happen, like the Mario Kart tournament one, where like what was it? You get like a mine cart and then you get like a piece of metal and you can go flying.
Yep.
Like that was the first one. Now there are people who are able to do almost like ultra instinct stuff with Dragon Ball, like as glitches, and I don't understand.
You can like in Zelda. There's one where you can, if you surf shield, you can go through walls and floors.
Yes. This one, it almost looks like they're orbiting around like a guardian almost.
Wow.
I don't get it. I really don't, because they're just going around like literally teleporting, and it's they know how to do it. That's the wild part. It's
I
like
know.
speed runs, but to an extreme of like weirdness.
Speedrunners are a whole different breed of people.
That's gonna be a whole episode talking about speedruns
Yeah.
because GDQ, that's some of my favorite stuff to just have in the background. But what game would you have for like most played?
I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. How about you say yours first? I'll think about it.
How about I get onto my Switch
Yeah, you
and
can actually go check.
look, because like, all right, total playtime. It's actually been beaten. Hulu has been defeated.
Yeah.
It is, it is now Smash Ultimate.
Wow.
Let me check how many hours that is because I do have that. Man, I don't know if I can call myself a true gamer because it's only 110 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it. That's low.
Yeah,
That is
Rookie
low.
numbers.
Rookie numbers.
Do you have a
pushing
lot
it.
of games and you kind of switch between all of them?
Oh my gosh. Let me just show you really quickly and I can show the camera at some point. I have a whole library of stuff where
Yeah.
it's just it goes all the way through. It's insane the amount of stuff I have.
Yeah.
But it's all like $15 stuff where I get it
Mhm.
discounted, or
Free
most of the
downloads.
time I don't care if they are discounted. I just say that's WarioWare, I'm getting it.
Yeah.
All right, give me 1 second. All right, so I got there we are, like all of these games.
Yep.
It's just pure chaos,
Yeah.
and I love the Switch.
Mhm.
It is one of those systems where there's a lot of new games, a lot of old IPs being brought up. A lot of them are remasters, though.
Yeah.
You know, there's all sorts of ports and remasters and collections.
Yeah. Like the Mario games, the All-Star.
The 3D anniversary stuff,
Yeah.
that was wild.
I know.
I actually do have a story about that 3D anniversary.
We are. I think we talked about this last week.
Did we?
Yeah, I think so.
Did we talk about how I...
So yeah, long story short, he played through the entirety of Super Mario Sunshine in one day.
And I was supposed to go hang out with a friend, and I said that I had an essay,
Yep.
to write, and they were like, okay. It was just me playing through Sunshine the entire time.
Hey, that's important too.
I was there to watch this. I was like sitting there.
I
most of the
probably
time.
looked insane. I didn't do anything else. I maybe ate a little bit and stuff, but otherwise Max usually had to remind me like, "Hey, you gotta do this." And I was like, "Yeah, later."
Yep, I've definitely been there, done that.
Mhm.
I think I got halfway through Galaxy in one weekend, which isn't as impressive, but I did spend a whole weekend doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Same here. But you're gonna talk about Super Smash Bros.
Okay, yeah, I should probably talk about Smash Bros. Since that was like the game. I absolutely love it because it's one of those games, again, that's going to be brought up a little bit later about how this game, or the Switch, is a party machine.
Yeah.
It's usually the game that whenever I have friends over, we may not want to do Mario Kart because that might take a while. A quick round of Smash Bros. Going through the entire roster, which is some of my favorite stuff because Smash Bros. It's not really. A lot of people say it's a celebration of Nintendo history. I don't believe that anymore. With all the DLC, it has now become the celebration of video game history.
And all the rejects go to Fortnite.
Either is Goku finally in Fortnite because
no, Naruto is in Fortnite.
Naruto is
That's
finally
funny.
in Fortnite.
Goku is literally one step away.
Oh my god.
If that is the case, please, I want to see Goku with a gun. That is the biggest thing I want to see.
There's gonna be like Sora and Gino.
Oh my god.
If they actually, I've heard that there was a leak going around that Samus was supposed to be in Fortnite, which would have been wild.
Yeah.
That let me just say, Metroid is one of my favorite series of all time. And I'm happy to see a resurgence in that. But Smash Bros. Again gave me a little bit more representation for like some of those games, like getting Ridley in there. I freaked out. He's one of my mains, and even Dark Samus, seeing her in that, for them to acknowledge Metroid Prime, which is a full US version of Metroid, again, insane to think about. But yeah, it's just looking at the roster, being able to play through some of these characters, Steve, some of the Tekken character, like the Tekken character, Kazuya, and even like Banjo and Kazooie, wild times.
Yeah, I'm not really a Smash player. I see it a lot from people playing it, but I'm terrible at it. So, but one of my favorite things is whenever there's a new character reveal, I love going on Twitter and watching all the people who are very upset that their favorite character didn't get in.
It gets me depressed. I don't know about you.
I think it's so funny, especially because the creator just doesn't care what those people want. He's like, I'm going to put in whatever character I want.
This was decided like years ago.
Yeah.
You're not going to do anything about it.
Yeah, he usually is in the interviews being like, listen, guys, I don't really care what's going on. I may make a joke about it because I do see you guys being like, bring Goku in and stuff. It's like, I can't.
Yeah.
Like this, my hands are tied. Nintendo chooses. They get a full list to me, and then I say, I want that person, and they say okay.
Yeah.
Like that's how it's chosen, and I'm okay with them.
Yeah.
Like what if you guys had a prediction or like a dream character, who would you want in Smash Bros?
I would do another Persona character.
Really?
Yeah, maybe On. I want to whip people.
Out of context, people, that might not be the greatest thing.
On carries a whip.
But On carries a whip. But I do agree. I think that Persona is a fantastic series. It's one of my favorite RPG series out there. But Max, what would you want?
Well, I would have said Dante from Devil May Cry, but
he's gotten the me
fighter treatment.
Unfortunately.
You know, honestly, like, I'd probably want, again, Dante, but that's never going to happen anymore.
The clock is going.
Clock is ticking,
buddy.
I don't know, maybe like Kratos or something. That'd be cool.
That would be wild to see a PlayStation rap in Smash Bros.
I mean, Tekken is practically a PlayStation franchise.
It's always been a PlayStation one, so that's already kind of wild to see.
Yeah, but Tekken is also a classic, so if you're gonna like do an homage to video games, that's definitely one to include.
Oh yeah.
It's like the 3D fighter.
Yeah.
It's really neat to see all those 3D fighting games being like put in there. You know, Street Fighter, Tekken, King of Fighters. That was wild. But I think for me, I want the representation to go to first-person shooters since they've never gotten that. Unless you count like Samus. But I want Doomslayer. I want the Doom series to get in, and I want to see like, I don't even know what the stage would be, but it'd be really wild to see like the BFG division or something like that, in like the huge BFG 9000.
Yeah, the BFG 10,000.
Is it 10,000?
Yeah,
okay.
The canon one.
Yeah, like seeing all the like Kaka demons and stuff, just kind of like flowing towards like Mars and stuff, and then who knows, maybe we could see the hole in Mars. He shoots a hole into Mars. It's amazing.
Yeah, no. So what was it? Oh right, my game. Yeah.
Yes.
So we're done talking about Smash.
Yes.
Very good. So since I can't really think about which game I played the most, I'll just talk about one I really enjoy. Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Classic choice. That is a good one.
A lot of gameplay in that.
Yeah, exactly. So, for those who don't know, which is rare considering how, like, Fire Emblem has bumped its way up to
being one of the main staples of Nintendo now.
Yeah, exactly. Fire Emblem is a tactical RPG series where its whole thing is, like, permadeath originally.
And then they decide to say that's too hard for people, so, like, do whatever you want.
And now it has, like, social RPG elements. Like, you know, you can...
Little Persona-ish with the simulations.
It's like a visual novel, almost.
Yeah, it's turning more into a visual novel, and I know people are eating that up.
Yeah.
That's always been the biggest thing about Fire Emblem, I'd say, is the characters and the people who make fan fictions about those those characters.
Fan fiction about everything.
There is always something on the internet about Claude, Dimitri, or Edelgard. Yes.
Yeah, so back in the Three Houses, it's pretty much you're a teacher at pretty much what is a military academy, and you have to choose one of three classes to teach. Each class has its own very distinct cast of characters. I mean, I bet you'd find at least a few that you'd really enjoy. And you pretty much have to teach them how to fight and bring them into deadly battles at the end of every month. So
that's pretty much all we can say about the story.
Yeah, I guess. What's your class?
I chose the Golden Deer at first because of just Claude's absolute charisma.
I actually chose Blue Diamonds because...
Blue Lions.
I'm... Can we cut that out? I'm kidding. No, you're right, Max. I'm dumb. Blue Lions. Yeah, no, that... I love Dimitri. I love the entire cast of the Blue Diamonds. Lions.
Oh, wow.
Can we... No,
Getting into Steven Universe lore now.
Yeah.
But anyway, Dedue is one of the characters that I absolutely adore. He's like this really buff guy who's tan, and he just is.
He's not tan. He's black.
Is he?
Yeah, he is.
He's.
It's hard to tell with Japanese characters.
Yeah, it can get really like he's a person of color.
Yeah, exactly.
That's as much as I can say. We can't say.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to tell because there are different.
I mean, I just remember there was a paralogue with him where you have to like save a bunch of soldiers from where he's from. And
yeah, he is from a different country from the other regions and other people.
Of the main country that you're in, called Fodlan, which
he knows a lot of the lore. Yeah. I forget about it sometimes. He's the walking encyclopedia for games.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I just sometimes look up lore on wikis and just read that for some reason.
You once told me about how in high school you got bored in a class and you learned the entire history of Street Fighter.
Yep.
Like, all of it. I don't understand
That
it.
sounds like a better use of your time, to be honest.
Exactly.
Now
Yeah,
you're
high
here.
High school was horrible.
Yeah.
High school was a pain in half. But
Uh-huh.
anyway, I also just wanted to, for our, like, last little bit about the Switch, talk about the indie games
Yeah.
of Switch because it is a powerhouse
Mhm.
for indie developers.
Mhm.
Do you have any games like that you want to like talk about? Because I can talk about Hollow Knight and Stardew Valley, but there might be some lower indie games that people might not know about that you're like, oh my gosh.
Hollow Knight is really cool. I think this is definitely one that people talk about, and it's kind of a trash opinion, but Dream Daddy is always going to be like one of my top games.
Dream Daddy?
You haven't heard of this game?
I'm curious now.
Oh, so it's by Game Grumps. And
Of course, it's Game
Yeah.
Grumps.
And it's a dating game, and you are a dad, and you date the other dads in your cul-de-sac.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
It's ridiculously fun.
It sounds like what they do. So in a
Mhm.
certain way, that's cool. That's actually really awesome.
Yeah.
And the visual novel genre has skyrocketed
It's so popular.
just because of I feel like in Nintendo Switch.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it was big with Steam,
Yeah.
but again, there's so much on Steam that it just gets buried. This one, it can get buried, but it's portable.
Yeah.
Immediately, it just makes it so much more accessible.
Yeah, and I think with Steam, there's a lot that, like you said, there's so much you have to dig through, and there's a lot of, like, really scary and, like, bad ones. Nintendo, I think, kind of takes, like, some of the good ones or takes inspiration from some of the good ones and puts them on the Switch so that you don't have to do all that digging.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, exactly. What kind of indie game have you gotten that was kind of like a hidden treasure?
Hidden treasure, huh? I mean, honestly, I kind of, like, tend to play the more, like, popular indie games or ones I've heard about from outside sources. I mean, probably the most, like, underground one I play is Risk of Rain 2.
I thought that you were gonna actually bring up that one rope swinging game.
Oh, right. I forgot about that one.
I wanted to bring that up, but I
Yeah.
knew you had it, so.
Yeah, right. It's called Verlet Swing, and it's pretty much like first-person Spider-Man, but also like it's like the vaporwave aesthetic. You just swing through a bunch of these different courses. I haven't beaten like the last 20 because they're really difficult
Mhm.
for some reason.
But it's like a huge puzzler with those really cool physics.
Mm-hmm.
It's really well done actually, and it's
Yeah.
fairly cheap and hidden.
Yeah.
I got to play a little bit of his.
Uh-huh.
I couldn't put it down for a few hours because I was like, oh man, no, this is amazing.
Yeah, it sounds like one of those games where it's like you fail and then you're just like, oh, I gotta keep going.
Yeah, exactly. Like you fail and then it's like 1 second and
Yeah.
you load back in. And
It's
start
really-
over.
Yeah, it's really interesting because they do have like, if you do it in this amount of time, you get a little trophy.
Okay.
You're like, like the
Yeah.
bronze, silver, and gold.
Mhm.
You get a little like star ranking pretty much.
Yeah, and yeah, if you don't get it right, then you're like, okay, I gotta shave off that 1 second,
Yeah.
and you just keep going with it. It has major replayability value, and that I think that the other games I want to talk about are like the Devolver Digital stuff,
Mhm.
like Hotline Miami, Katana Zero, My Friend Pedro, Broforce. A lot of those like actiony games that are much more bloodier, violent,
Yeah.
but so much fun. They're always on the Switch.
Mhm.
They always have a place in my heart on the Switch, just because of how portable and easy it is to just pick up a Hotline Miami little map, play through it, and say, all right, that's good for me.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really what it comes down to with the Switch. It's definitely one of the best Nintendo consoles because it's like getting a DS or 3DS, getting a, like the HD, current gen stuff
Yeah.
even, and being able to play it. Like Doom Eternal, it's wild to think that you can get it on Switch now.
Mhm.
It's wild to think that you can get like Wolfenstein, some of those crazy games that you look at and you're like, they can never play it. And all of a sudden, Panic Button, the developers who make all those ports, they somehow
Manage.
They conduct black magic, and all of a sudden, like, I don't know.
That's how I played Doom 2016 the first time.
Which is absolutely wild, and they add cool features like
Yeah.
gyro control, which is another thing that the Nintendo Switch does so right. But I think that kind of concludes what we want to talk about. The final thing that we do for action or level up chips, I almost said the wrong title because I am a part of a lot of different things. We do random games of the week. We pick a random game off of this wheel. We have a little list. And this week we actually got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I put 8, but we always go for the better one. So, does everybody own Mario Kart 8 Deluxe?
I don't own it, but I've played it.
Oh, I own it.
Oh, yeah, he owns it. Max and I are roommates, so we
Play it occasionally.
we have
Occasionally.
some very competitive
It's-
scenes.
Listen, friendships can be ruined over this game. Like,
Blue shells are the biggest offender.
yeah.
Um,
It's like, you cannot be my brother anymore. Like, we're enemies.
Listen, you have Smash Brothers to be better than me in, but I have Mario Kart.
I do remember that one time where I played Simon Belmont, and I felt really bad. So I get that. Honestly, there are so many points where I'm like, I have the perfect setup, and somehow I'm driving by, and it's that like meme of Captain America like saying "on your left." He does that every single time where I'm like, come on, I have the best one. I have all the coins. How are you doing this with like 0? And he's like, I don't know, man. It's just what I choose.
Victory is much sweeter when you ruin someone who's having a good time.
Right. One thing to say about Mario Kart 8 is the music is like top tier for some reason. Like the soundtrack goes so hard.
Well, it's mostly because they have the instrumentals. It's jazz.
Yeah.
It's like high-speed jazz, and I love it. But it's full-on orchestrated. There's nothing about it that's just, oh, we made it in a studio or something like that. We made it on a computer. They full-on conduct this stuff. I want to see Central at some point have a jazz concert, and it's all video game stuff.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine playing like the Persona 5
Oh
music?
my god. Music is like one of the biggest things I pay attention to in games. Like, in Nier, I don't know if you guys played
Yes,
that.
yes.
Oh,
They created a whole imaginary
There's
language.
a vinyl of all the music in that game.
Like the chaos language of Nier Automata.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Like every time I hear it, I'm like, let's make this a language, just a regular language, because it's too beautiful.
Well, in the original game, in the desert area, that kind of music is...
Oh.
It's painful when you get through the story.
Yes, it is. Oh, I love Nier. That's gonna be another game we're gonna talk about at some point.
The music.
And we should have like a video
music.
game. We could probably get like sound check in with this too.
A little collaboration.
Yeah, I think Livingston, Michael Livingston
Get him
would
in here to
definitely
talk
love
about
to
Dark
talk
Souls.
about that. Yes, he wants to talk about Dark Souls.
Yeah,
I think that might actually be the next episode. If not, we might be talking about some of the current or next gen consoles. But other than that, does anybody Mario Kart 8? Yeah, this game is great because it has stuff like Link, Isabelle, the Inklings, the Villager. I kind of talk about him a little bit, but we're thinking about Isabelle when we think about Animal Crossing.
Isabelle is the superior one.
We definitely should have had Tom Nook, but
Tom
that's
Nook.
besides the point.
I think it'd be fun to have Tom Nook in Smash though, because then you can like beat him down.
He's actually is it Tommy and Timmy that do the house final Smash?
That build the house. Oh yeah, Tom Nook is there too.
Yeah, I thought Tom Nook was actually part of it, so
That's cool.
I would almost say that he can't be a part of it.
Because he's already in there.
At the same time, if you try playing as Lucina, in Smash Bros. And you do like the final Smash, you will see Chrom in there as well, and some people may be playing as Chrom.
Yeah.
So it gets a little bit like, that's odd.
That's Robin.
What is it? Shoot, it's Robin.
Okay, whatever. Mario Kart. Back to Mario Kart. The tracks, also, the original ones that they have in there are all like excellent.
The F-Zero ones are amazing too. some of the best representation of F-Zero outside of their own games,
Because,
which
it's been dormant for...
it's been dormant since, what was it, the GameCube one, GX?
Yeah.
That one's good. It's fantastic. I would recommend it for people who have the game, if not the arcade game, if not emulators. But we aren't going to get into that. But Mario Kart 8 has so much Nintendo representation. It is becoming more and more of the celebration of Nintendo that people say sometimes Smash Bros. Is.
Yeah.
This one is much more all Nintendo.
One sticking point I do have with it is that it has a lot of filler characters. Like,
Next Mario Kart game, they gotta stop with like the
all the
Koopalings.
Yeah.
The amount of
all those
Koopalings.
baby characters.
Like
and
after I saw
Gold-
Baby Rosalina,
Gold
I was like,
Peach.
all right, that's done. I'm done with that. And yes, the metal characters. As soon as they added like metal like like Peach.
Like the
Pink
rose gold peach.
After that, I was like, come on, man, just stop.
Yeah.
Now, Nintendo, you gotta bring back Funky Kong. Everyone loves Funky
Funky
Kong.
Kong is going to like demolish everybody if he's in there. Because technically, I don't know if you know like the Mario Kart Wii stuff. He's
the
technically the
speedrun character.
greatest character in terms of speed.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you go into speed runs, you will see him going on those little ramps and stuff, going absolutely bananas. No pun intended. It's insane. I recommend watching some of those speed runs for Mario Kart Wii because some of the tricks that they have, insane.
Although, if you do have to keep a Koopaling, keep Roy, because Roy's cool. The one with the sunglasses.
All right. Any character with sunglasses, bring them back.
Yes.
Yes.
Otherwise, I want King Boo back. I want Piranha Pete.
King Boo is in the game.
Is he?
Yes.
All right, forget what I said. Piranha, Petey Piranha, I want him back because I want the biggest thing they've had Petey Piranha in some of the games recently, and the biggest thing is they've actually been doing more like Mario Sunshine stuff because that's where he was based off of. I want to see him in Mario Kart where like he has those like little splotches of like paint and like mud just on the track. Like he could easily vomit.
Yeah.
As gross it is, vomit the paint mud and make it like a banana or something slippery where it's a full on like oil slick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha.
That oil slick.
Yeah.
All right, Nintendo, you heard it here. That's the idea. Do it.
You got a
Free idea.
You gotta pay us now. Exactly. Either that or give us.
Yeah.
Either that or give us a DMCA. Whatever you want.
10% of the revenue. I know how much Mario Kart 8 sold. It's like 45 million units.
Set for life.
Yeah. No, Mario Kart is usually the. Isn't that usually like the top seller for Nintendo most of the time?
Let me check.
Like the DS
charts.
one, the Wii one. Anytime they get Mario Kart, all of a sudden it just instant like bestseller.
Yeah, because it's a game that everyone can enjoy.
There's nothing about it that's difficult, and they've actually made it much more accessible with the deluxe version where you can like make sure you don't go off of the track.
Yeah, the smart steering.
The smart steering stuff like that, where I'm like, hey, that's amazing.
It's like having bumpers when you go bowling.
Well, the highest selling.
My sister needed that, so yeah.
The highest selling Nintendo game ever is Super Mario Brothers, but right under that is Mario Kart 8/8 Deluxe.
Dang.
So close.
That right there just kind of shows how great of a game is, and if you don't have it, you need to get it. So help Nintendo out.
Because they need help.
Because they need help.
They're struggling.
They need the money. They are absolutely famished right now with sales. So go on out there, get yourself a Switch, get yourself a Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, get yourself a Nintendo. Thank you all. I'll see you next week.